Now, the tongue itself, as I said earlier, guides the growth of the teeth. And many of you will have seen this picture. Up on the top left, the tongue is where it should be, and you'll normally get an intermolar width of 42, 44 millimeters. The second picture shows the tongue just touching the teeth, which is a very common position. Most of you in the room now have that posture. And you see it results in a reduced width, maybe about 37 millimeters. And I'm quite sure that would fit many of you in the room. Now, if you touch your upper and lower teeth, you then get a more severe problem, and you'll reduce your intermolar width down to about 30. And if you put your tongue between the teeth, which is very common, your buccal teeth won't erupt, but your anterior teeth will. That is why you have a deep bite or maybe an open bite. What amazes me is that is so obvious, and yet the majority of orthodontists are not taught about this at all. The reason for all deep bites is simply that the tongue interferes with the buccal teeth. And in the same way as anterior open bites are due to the tongue interfering with the anterior teeth. Now, a quite different problem occurs if the tongue is in the floor of the mouth. In that situation, people tend to drop their jaw down slightly and move it forward, only a millimeter or two. But if you constantly hold the mandible forward, it will constantly grow forward. That is why people have class 3 malocclusion. Again, to me, it seems incredibly simple, but very few people realize it. Class 3 is a totally preventable malocclusion, and with orthotropics, it's very easy to correct. I did a lot of my own research, and this is very simple stuff. I simply painted the palate of these two people, one with the wide jaw, one with the narrow jaw, with indicator paste. And I then asked them to swallow 3 times. You can see the exact position of the tongue on the wide maxilla, but obviously the tongue didn't touch the palate at all with the narrow maxilla. And again, that just shows in a very obvious way why we have wide or narrow maxillae. Now, clearly, the shape of the whole face is involved in this, and I was interested in trying to find out what it was. Here, in fact, I got an artist, a sculptress, to alter the position of the maxilla by 5 millimeters. Each of those 3 faces are different in only one respect, the position of the maxilla, but you can immediately see how it affects the appearance of the overall face. And quite clearly, a full maxilla is much more attractive, and that requires the tongue to be in the palate. Now, they tell you not to pay much attention to individual cases, but every now and again they can teach us a lot. This young girl was brought to me for treatment. You can see the position of her tongue, you can see the malocclusion she has, but also look at how it has affected the shape of her face. Her lips are apart, but that's all associated with her posture. And her face and teeth and jaws have grown completely incorrectly. Now, her mother used to bring her in with her brother. Her brother sat in the waiting room while I treated the sister. And I noticed his face looked really very good. So I said to his mother, why do you think he is good looking and your daughter has a problem? And she told me that her daughter was weaned quite early with spoon, cup, and bottle, whereas her son refused to eat off a spoon or take a bottle, the son would only feed off the breast. And now you can say that one case proves nothing, but it can explain everything. And I think to me that is the perfect illustration of the difference between breastfeeding and cup and spoon feeding. You may not all agree, but I have no doubt. Now, the actual posture, particularly of the lower jaw, has a huge effect on the growth of the face. Remember, if the jaw is dropped down, the cells in the jaw are not able to grow to the position they want to grow. And I do think there's an element of volition here. They do want to grow to the right place. This boy had problems because his parents gave him some pet mice. He kept them in his bedroom and developed an allergy to them, which blocked his nose, so that up until 10 years old, he could breathe perfectly well through his nose. But after that, he wasn't able to. He eventually had to have surgery to clear his nose, but you can see the effect this has had on his growth. And just look at that last picture. Look where the chin is. It's way, way back from where it should be. Look at the line under his eye. It drops vertically. His cheeks should stick forward, but clearly they don't. And I think this is just an illustration of what happens. The cells, I'm sure, tried their best, but when the bones are in the wrong position, their map does not work.